for you and work to save you thousands a year. All it takes is one toll-free call. They do all the work for you. Term life insurance is a smart move. Saving money on your life insurance is even smarter. Call eFinancial today for a free no-obligation quote. 800-291-4210. That's 800-291-4210. They guarantee fast, friendly service. So call for a free no-obligation quote now. 800-291-4210. 800-291-4210.
Everybody's talking at me.
My guest, Carrie Pickett, The Washington Times, www.washingtontimes.com, and look up under their opinion, water cooler. That's about the best way to find your articles, isn't it? Opinion and then water cooler? Yes, I think.
Absolutely. Just head on to the opinion page and you can find that water cooler link.
Now, you remember what you were speaking of just before we went into that break, because I was going to let you continue.
Yeah, sure. I was essentially just talking about the meeting between Senator Kyle and Barack Obama, and just the fact that Senator Kyle just was a little surprised that Mr. Obama was pretty much uninformed about all the problems going on at the border. But particularly, one of the things that he also spoke to reporters about yesterday was the fact that the SB 1070, the whole lawsuit, is he feels pretty confident that it'll be able to withstand the scrutiny that'll be attacking it, whether it's from the White House or perhaps even Mexico. Even though he didn't mention Mexico, because of course Mexico just happened today, but still, he referred us over to Jonathan Turley, particularly because Jonathan Turley mentions that this is very, very rare for the White House to attack an actual state, to actually go after and sue a state, and essentially it's essentially suing its own federal statute, and it's really setting itself a very high standard to really find success. So for the White House to think that it's actually going to be successful at this is really going to be tough for it. One of the things that particularly Jonathan Turley points out here, and I quote, Secretary Napolitano told the Judiciary Committee that the law will, quote, will detract from and siphon resources that we need to focus on those in the country illegally who are committing from the most serious crimes. Now, what Jonathan Turley says is that is not enough of a preemption argument to arrest people under the law. It will be hard enough to argue that arresting federal violators interferes with federal enforcement unless the policy is non-enforcement. So, yeah.
Hillary, and part of Hillary's quotes, she said, and I played on this in my newscast today, the president has told the Justice Department, to file the suit on the basis that it is the constitutional responsibility of the federal government, not states, to set immigration policy. And I kept saying, I wonder why they wouldn't substitute that word set for enforce. It is the constitutional responsibility of the federal government, not the states, to enforce immigration policy. But I think you and I both know, Carrie, that this bill, it was written by constitutional lawyers, and they say it's going to uphold any challenge whatsoever.
Absolutely. And in fact, part of the federal immigration law is there's also a provision in there known as 287G. And 287G actually mandates the states to carry out federal law, federal immigration law. And one of the things that also Jonathan Turley points out here is that the law is being characterized as a separate or alternative state enforcement system as opposed to a concurrent enforcement scheme. And that is far from an obvious circumstance here that's actually going on. So we have to remember that probably what the Obama administration is hoping for is that the Latino community will be rallying behind them up until the November elections, and they can perhaps rally the base. They may not get what they're hoping for, but what they could get out of it is a rallying of the base in the meantime.
You know, it's interesting when you see somebody that doesn't want to offend either Obama or Senator John Kyle. And I saw one of those on Fox today and said, well, you know, John Kyle, you know, he's a very honest guy, you know, and the president, you know, and they have the meetings, so, you know, one of them isn't telling the truth. And then I think, well, you know, in the Oval Office, when he did his speech on that last Tuesday, he didn't tell the truth about, you know, how much oil is being drilled and how much is available and blah, blah, blah. He didn't, and he added on the moratorium for not drilling after he had the meeting with all these experts, and they didn't even know it was on there. So let's just say I think I'm going to go with Senator John Kyle. Okay, I'll go way out on a limb and say I think I believe him. So that's just the way I am. Hey, Carrie, thank you very, very much for giving me the time today, and I appreciate it each and every time. And I want the listeners to go to WashingtonTimes.com. Keep up to date on what she is writing. I'm telling you, she hangs out at the water cooler. She hears all this little gossip, and then she does her research, and she files the good stories. Carrie Pickett, the Washington Times, and thank you very much.
Absolutely, Chuck. Take care.
All right. Right now, let's go to Dr. William R. Forstchen. He is author of the book 1 Second After. How many of you really know what an EMP attack is? That's not like a military police. Hey, Dr. Forstchen, welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon. A pleasure to be with you today.
I got to tell you, you are saying, you know, you're putting these warnings out, and already I sort of think back about how long I've been hearing about EMP, and first off, I want you to explain to the listeners exactly what an EMP is, and then I'll get to my point about why has it sort of gone off the radar. I don't hear too many commissions talking about we got to have a commission to study this and be prepared for this. So tell the listeners exactly what an EMP is. I know, but let's just bring them out of the closet here, shall we?
Will do. And after the show is over, I urge listeners, if they're thinking that I'm a guy with a tinfoil hat on, please take some time after your show is off the air to Google up EMP, and particularly look up the Congressional Report of 2004. Congressional Report 2004 on EMP. EMP is shorthand for electromagnetic pulse.